Alright, welcome back to the garage for episode 2 of this build series. In this episode, the goal is to get these coilovers installed, the clutch kit installed, and the transmission in the car. What I have here is a set of Blue Line coilovers. They're made in Germany, have a safety rating, come with a 2-year warranty, and they're galvanized instead of painted. So still a budget coilover, but they're held to some sort of standard, which is more than you can say for most. This is what was on the car. It was a set of H&R lowering springs on some brand name struts, and instead of buying new struts for the front, it wasn't much more just to go ahead and get coilovers, because as I was installing the top hats I realized that these were blown out, so just went ahead and pulled the trigger on these. One of the mods I had mentioned in the first video was installing M3 top hats. So you can see the difference between the M3 and the original is a center mount, and the M3 is offset. And what you actually do is you run these on the wrong side, so left on right and right on left. And what that does is kick the shock back and inside, which gives you more camber and caster. And along with that, you have to run offset lower control arm bushings, which we already have installed. And I have these bolt-in reinforcement plates for the strut tower, so they just sandwich in between this and the strut tower, just to add some material. So this should be pretty fun and easy install. Here's the coilover ready to go in with top hat and reinforcement plate. Now, see if I can get this right. I think it goes something like this. Man, that worked great. Got the coilovers installed with some new sway bar links. So for the rear, we're going to leave it with what came on the car for now. It came with some nice H&R springs that seem to be just about as stiff as what's included in the Blue Line kit. And it also had some adjustable Coney shocks, so that's very nice. Alright, now to install the clutch. Alright, with the clutch in the car, it's time for the transmission. While I have it out, I'm going to do a few things to it. I've got this old slave cylinder to take out, and I'm also going to replace the foam and pin for this selector rod joint here. It's a pretty difficult job, if not impossible, while it's in the car, so while we have it out, we'll take care of that, and that'll eliminate a lot of slop out of our shifter. So what this foam does is it puts tension on the ball socket in there, so that's going to eliminate our play in this axis, and then what the new pin does is it holds it onto the ball socket, and that's going to help eliminate play in this axis. So another way to do this is getting a whole new selector rod joint, because that's going to come with new foam, but those are pretty expensive. Nice thing about that is its bore where the pin sits is fresh too, because that'll also wear. But the cheap way to do it is new foam, which is about $3, and a new pin, which is about $2, and that's going to take out a lot of our play, because just a little bit of play here, once you get up to the shifter, turns into a lot of play. After that, we have a throwout bearing to put in. It's a used one, but in good shape. And Some other things to take note of while you're inspecting your transmission is this pivot joint behind here is a little plastic pivot, or you can upgrade it to a metal one, but check that out, make sure it's in good shape. And you want this spring clip on here. Sometimes they're missing or broken. That holds it down on the pivot, keeps it from falling off. Wouldn't want that to happen. But other than that, obviously you could look for leaks. This one's looking good. But that's about it as far as transmission maintenance, and then it's ready to go in the car. So if we look in there, there is absolutely no foam left. It has disintegrated. So this is why this job's so hard in the car, is that's how thick the foam is, and you have to compress it down on there and then get the pin to drop through. That's a very tight fit. It's pretty difficult. Alright, selector rod joint is refreshed, nice and tight. And we got our throwout bearing on, all greased up. Time to put it in. At least I can't put the clutch on backwards this time. Had some German word on it and I looked it up and it said gearbox side. Sounds like sick. What should I write? I put the date. So. Can you tip it up?
Here, down.
Yeah, your end up.
Okay.
Perfect.
Your
Yeah.
It's on the color.
I know. Can't find the hole. Am I just not high enough?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dude, this thing's pain in the ass. Ooh, money.
Or do the wind up right there.
Alright, I think I need a bolt. That's too long? That was right. Need a bigger Torex size over there. 14. Looks like it. Oh yeah.
Is 14 the biggest?
That's the biggest size, yeah. Almost wants to throw. Oh, that worked. Just noticed something unfortunate. There's a broken off bolt in that pan. I guess it can't be that important. That's one of the baby bolts. Hey, is there a flathead handy for that clip I gotta pop up?
Yeah.
Never heard of it. guess that's tight, I don't know. Alright, transmission is installed. We have some fresh rubber OEM bushings there. Shift linkage is in with a new plastic ball socket and bushing for the carrier along with the selector rod joint. Slave cylinder is in and the clutch is working as it should. Had one small issue up front here where this bolt was broken off in the oil pan. I didn't realize, but it's one of these small bolts, so I don't think it's a huge deal. We should be alright there. Otherwise, everything is working as it should. Check it out, we have a clutch. And we have gears. Big success. Alright, this will conclude part 2 of this build series. In the next episode, we'll get started on reinforcing the rear subframe. I don't think it'll be too bad of a job. I think we could knock it out pretty quickly. So stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Alright, see ya.